Hello everyone, Azim here. We are going to go over the different cranial nerves and the foramina that they pass through in the skull. I have several different models with me, like I have this brain model, this other brain model. I've got this plastic, whatever skull, I don't know what it's made of, some kind of plastic. I have a real skull, so we can compare that to the real thing. I also have a model of the face, kind of creepy looking. It's got a bunch of muscles here, but on the other side, it's scooped out. You can see the base of cranium. So we're going to take a look at the foramina here and the nerves that are poking out. And one more, our friendly rack of ribs. Friendly rack of ribs is here. If you look real close, you can see the underside of the brain, olfactory bulbs. You can see the pons, optic nerve, and so on. And we'll also take a look at the spinal nerves later on, but in this video we're focusing on the cranial nerves. So let's have a look. First, going in order of the cranial nerves. Cranial nerve 1, the olfactory nerve. Really though, the best way to see the olfactory nerve is if your nose is over here, then you have nerves running up from the nasal epithelium to the olfactory bulb. So really the olfactory bulb is where the olfactory nerve ends. I guess I can show you on this. Here's the nasal cavity. Here's the ethmoid. The olfactory bulb would be right here. The nerves are the axons that extend from the olfactory epithelium to the olfactory bulb. That's what cranial nerve 1 is. Cranial nerve 1, what hole does it go through? It goes through all these tiny, tiny little holes that you can see on either side. Those are the olfactory foramina of the cribriform plate of the ethmoid bone. It's not shown as well here on a plastic model because it's hard to make those tiny, tiny little holes. But this is the front of the skull, the anterior side. Here's the ethmoid. You can identify it because you see the cristagalli and those tiny little holes, olfactory foramina. And just so you can see how the two coincide, here's the olfactory nerve, the olfactory bulb, which is the end of the olfactory nerve. The brain would fit in the skull like this. It's not a perfect fit because this model wasn't made for the skull, but it's fitting in like that. Okay, that's cranial nerve 1, olfactory nerve. Cranial nerve 2, that's the optic nerve. Optic is for vision. Optic. There's ophthalmic and others, but that's for control of the eye. This is sensing from the eye. So this is your eyes would be here. You've got a nerve coming from one eye, a nerve coming from another eye, and there's this crossing point. That's the chiasm, optic chiasm. When it continues on, that's the optic tract. Just like these are the olfactory bulbs continue on as olfactory tracts, optic nerve, optic chiasm, optic tract. All right, that's for vision. Oh, and what hole does it go through? If you look at our anterior side of the skull, if you look in the orbit, you can see several holes here. I want the medial one and smaller. The long one is the superior orbital fissure, but I'm going for this one here. That's the optic canal. On the other side, find the sella turcica, so it's part of the sphenoid. There's this hole. Well, can I show you this? There's this hole here coming out just from within that sella turcica. And this model is coming out. There we go. See this? Yeah, right where my finger's going on and off. That is the optic canal. Cranial nerve 3. Cranial nerve 3 is the oculomotor. You can see that the mammillary body's here. This is the location of the midbrain. There's cranial nerve 3. I can actually kind of like it on this one. 1, 2, 3. There's cranial nerve 3. In yellow, those are mammillary bodies. This is the midbrain region. There's cranial nerve 3. Oculomotor. That's for control of 4 of the 6 muscles of the eye. The oculomotor nerve passes through the superior orbital fissure. On the anterior side, you go through the orbit, the really big hole here. That's the superior orbital fissure. From the other side, it's this long crevice, superior orbital fissure of the sphenoid. Let's see how it looks on our plastic model. You can see it clearly right here, superior orbital fissure on either side. Oculomotor. Fourth nerve. Fourth nerve is the smallest nerve, the smallest bundle of axons. It's the trochlear nerve. We're controlling the superior oblique muscle of the eye. The fourth one you can see just, it's kind of rostral and lateral of the pons. Right there. Number 4. So it would be this one. This is number 4. On this model, 1, 2, 3, 4 is hiding right there. There's cranial nerve 4. Cranial nerve 4, trochlear nerve, also goes through that superior orbital fissure. It's a very, very large hole. There we go. It's a very large hole. It also goes through the superior orbital fissure. Cranial nerve 5 is a bit more complicated because it's the trigeminal nerve. Well, first let's identify it. There's a trigeminal nerve midway down the pons, lateral. Largest nerve, largest in terms of how many axons there are. What's complicating this is that it branches. It's trigeminal, so there are 3 branches. So the 3 branches of the trigeminal nerve are the, I can think of this, it's the ophthalmic, there we go. The ophthalmic nerve, the ophthalmic branch, it's innervating this like upper eye and forehead area. It also goes through the superior orbital fissure. The maxillary nerve, which goes to the maxillary region, so the lower eyelid, upper mouth. The maxillary division goes through foramen rotundum. Foramen rotundum is this tiny hole right here. There. So hopefully you can see that on either side. There's that tiny hole on the left, tiny hole that I'm shaking on the right. That's foramen rotundum. Let me tell you the names of these holes that you see right here, and I'll explain them in a minute. This is rotundum. Rotundum. Rotundum lacerum, there we go. Rotundum lacerum. Ovale is the big round one. And then this tiny one is spinosum. Spinosum and lacerum, don't worry about for now. Those are for blood vessels and nerves, blood vessels. We'll get to that later. Right now, I just need you to know rotundum and ovale. Rotundum is small and round. Ovale is big and oval. Rotundum ovale. Rotundum ovale. Rotundum is for the maxillary division of trigeminal nerve. Ovale is for the mandibular. Did I say that right? Maxillary for rotundum, mandibular goes through ovale. Foramen rotundum, foramen ovale. Compare that to optic canal and superior orbital fissure. Okay, that was trigeminal, cranial nerve 5. Cranial nerve 6 is the abducens nerve. Cranial nerve 6 is over here. We've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is caudal to the pons, between the pons and the medulla, 6. These are 7 and 8. We'll get to that later. Cranial nerve 6 is the abducens nerve. It innervates the lateral rectus muscle, so you can look to the side with either eye. The abducens also goes through superior orbital fissure. So there are 4 nerves then that go through the superior orbital fissure. Oculomotor, number 3, trochlear, number 4, ophthalmic, number 5, the first branch, and abducens, number 6. 4 different nerves that go through the superior orbital fissure. Really big hole. Cranial nerve, what are we on? 7. Cranial nerve 7. Here you can see lateral of the pons, but past the trigeminal. Here's trigeminal. Here's 7, and here's 8. 7 and 8. So 7, can you all see that? 7 is the facial nerve. 8 is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Facial for taste on the anterior 2/3 and control of your facial muscles. And then 8 is vestibulocochlear. It's for balance and hearing. Both of these nerves, 7 and 8, facial and vestibulocochlear, they both go through the internal acoustic meatus. So here's anterior, left lateral, right lateral. Let's look right here. This hole here is the internal acoustic meatus. It is somewhat continuous with the external acoustic meatus. You'd have to break some parts of the what do you call it? Of the canal, but yeah, internal acoustic meatus. That is for both facial and vestibulocochlear, 7 and 8. Number 9. Number 9 is the glossopharyngeal. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 is lateral of the olives, of the medulla. This is the medulla. This round thing labeled 38 is the olive. 9 is glossopharyngeal. Glossopharyngeal goes through the jugular foramen. I might as well tell you the next 3. Here's number 9, hypoglossal. Glossopharyngeal. Number 9, glossopharyngeal. Number 10 is the vagus nerve, V-A-G-U-S. Glossopharyngeal, vagus. 11 is this long or multi-layered one, or just it goes all the way down to the spinal cord. This is the spinal accessory, or just accessory. 9, 10, 11. All 3 of these, they go through the jugular foramen, which is another big hole. Not this really big one, that's foramen magnum. It's this one here. So here's the jugular foramen. Right here is the internal acoustic meatus. Jugular foramen is where those 9, 10, and 11 all pass through. Right here. Also the jugular vein, which if you knew what the jugular vein was, then you'd probably figure. That's why it's so large, to fit all those things through. Number 12, last one. But we're going to go over some more things because, yeah. You notice that we've gone 6 here is medial, 7 and 8 are lateral, 9 and 10 and 11 are lateral. 11 or 12, we need to go a bit more rostral and a bit more medial. 12 is over here between the pyramids. Pyramids is labeled 39, and olives, that's 38. It's between the pyramids and the olives of the medulla. Number 12 is hypoglossal. 9 is glossopharyngeal, that's mostly sensory. 12 is hypoglossal, it's control of the tongue. 12 is hypoglossal. Hypoglossal gets its own hole, the hypoglossal canal. Here we can see this hole. On either side, you can see the other hole right here. That's the hypoglossal canal. Control of the tongue. Going through it on this model, here we see olfactory nerves going through the olfactory foramina. Here we see optic nerve going through the optic canal, cranial nerve 2. Cranial nerve 3, oculomotor, where are we? Cranial nerve. Well, this is supposed to be the superior orbital fissure. So I only see one nerve represented here. But coming out of here, the superior orbital fissure, we should have the oculomotor, number 3, trochlear, number 4, ophthalmic, 5, the first branch of the 5th, and then 6, abducens. Foramen rotundum. Foramen rotundum is the small one. That's coming, it's a small round one. That's the maxillary branch of trigeminal, number 5, branch 2. Ovale is a larger one. Here's ovale, well, here's cranial nerve 5, branch 3, the mandibular division coming out. 7 and 8, the facial and vestibulocochlear. We want to find this ridge. This is separating the sphenoid and temporal bone. Sphenoid's up here, temporal bone's over here. We want to go just a bit down from there. This is where the trigeminal and facial nerves come out. This is what did I just say? Can't even think right now. This is the internal acoustic meatus, right? 7 and 8, 7 and 8, facial and vestibulocochlear come out of internal acoustic meatus. These 3, that's 9, 10, and 11. Glossopharyngeal, vagus, and accessory. They're coming out of the jugular foramen. And then this small one down here, that's the hypoglossal nerve coming out of the hypoglossal canal. One more model to show. Olfactory nerve, optic number 2, oculomotor number 3. Where are you 4? Oh, it's hiding here. It's really small. 4 is right here. That's trochlear. Did I say that right? Yeah, trochlear. Here's number 3 is up here, 4 is right there, 5 trigeminal, 6 abducens, 7 and 8 facial and vestibulocochlear, 9 accessory, 10 vagus. 9 glossopharyngeal, even I mess up. 9 glossopharyngeal, 10 vagus, 11. It's this long one that's actually been broken apart right here. But 11 accessory, and then 11 accessory. 12 has been broken off, unfortunately. See these little fibers here? This is the medullary pyramid, here's the olive. These little fibers are supposed to be 12. So one more time. 1 olfactory, 2 optic, 3 oculomotor, 4 abducens, 4 trochlear. 4 trochlear. It's been a long day. 5 trigeminal, 6 abducens, 7 facial, 8 vestibulocochlear, 9 glossopharyngeal, 10 vagus, 11 spinal accessory, and then 12, which is not labeled here, it's between the olive and the pyramids, that's hypoglossal. All right. Thanks for listening. Long video, but I hope it helps. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks.